this just flashed into my mind the other day, and I thought, oh, this is an opportunity for a good little ramble, so let's have at it. This chart here, Venn diagram really, uh, is something that I really like to keep in mind when I'm interacting with my fellow human beings and sort of getting a sense of what I'm up to in the world. And it's just an acknowledgement of the fact that the things that I like and the things that are good in some meaningful sense are different sets. And sometimes they overlap, but it's not the case that everything that I like is good, and it's certainly not the case that everything that is good is something that I like. Keeping that distinction in mind makes it so much easier to relate with the things that you enjoy in life and relate with other people's enjoyments and how those things intersect. A problem that folks run into very often is that they build an identity around the things that they like. And so I'm a person who likes these things, and I'm a person who doesn't like these things. And once that is our identity as human beings, we naturally tend to defend our identities. We defend the notion of the integrity of our person. And that means that somebody else having different preferences or having a different experience can become very threatening, and it leads to tension that is just absolutely unnecessary. So for carrying around this picture in our mind that, hey, most of the stuff that I like isn't really that good, and most of the things that are good are things I don't like, then we don't have to have tension with other people when they make different choices and have different preferences. So I just wanted to kind of run down a couple of examples here so that we can talk about, get a sense of where this lives. So like things that I like that maybe aren't that good, like I like to read trashy sci-fi novels. That's cool. There are things that are good that I like. There are definitely some bands that I listen to that are good. I definitely enjoy all sorts of exercise, and that's good. And then there are also things that are good that I don't like. So dance, for example. I think dance is great. I think that it's wonderful that human beings are out there just expressing their exhilaration and joy in being and living through the motion of their bodies. And I don't want to do it. And if you're into dance and you're like, yeah, my dance company is like putting on this product, I don't want to go. I'm happy that you enjoy it. And that's just the reality of who I am and what I like. Dance is really good, and I'm not into it. So having that recognition allows me to come from a place of, okay, you like a thing that I don't like. It may or may not be good. And I, as a person who am not into that, probably not even in a position to judge that, because I don't have the familiarity with that domain of human experience to figure out, is this a good of this or is this a crappy of this? So on. So that's just a very small attitudinal piece that if you keep this picture in mind, you don't have to disparage things that other people like that maybe you don't like, because it may be that they're good. They live in the little green, I don't know what that shape's called. Lacunae? I don't know. I should know probably as a, math major, but there you go. If somebody else doesn't like a thing that you like, okay, that's fine. And it may be that when you look at somebody else's blue circle, it doesn't overlap your green thing at all. Maybe the set of things that somebody else likes that are good in no way overlaps the things that you like that are good, and neither of you has to be bad, wrong, inferior, anything like that. You can just be different and recognize that the human organism comes in all sorts of different varieties and flavors, and that's fine. If I may be permitted just a little bit more of an extended ramble here, this actually kind of engages with something that I find myself talking about with folks all the time, which is, what do you actually include in your identity? My suspicion is that most folks include more things in their identity than is really good for their well-being. My suggestion is to make one's identity mostly about how one is in the world. So for me, my identity is, how am I trying to interact with my fellow human beings and in general with the world? And my goal is just that when I interact with one of my fellow human beings, that they're at the very least left in as good a state as I found them, and maybe their life got a little better for having interacted with me. Not 100% strike rate with that, but that's my goal, and that's where I found my identity. So if my circumstances in life change, if the set of things that I do over the course of my day changes, that's not a threat to who I am. I don't have to have any tension there. If the set of things that I like changes, and golly, that's happened a lot of times over the course of my life as I've grown older and my brain has changed. That doesn't have to be threatening. So I don't have to fear the advance of age and changes to brain chemistry that make me favor or disfavor different things than in my youth, because that's not where my identity lives. That's not how I define myself. I define myself based on how I interact with people, with the world. If I'm out in the world, I'm trying to be